Hello, hello, hello. I think we are getting ready to go live if we're not already live. It is good to be here coming in hot on a Tuesday, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I know normally that I do my expert interviews at 7 o'clock, but here's the deal. In order to get the best of the best, when we're talking about anything related to strength and mobility, we got to work with when our experts are available. And the expert that I have for you today is incredibly busy because she's super good at what she does. And so I'm just really excited to dive in here today. She's a friend. She's also a mentor. She may not know that, but she's also a mentor of mine. She's been teaching me for several years now about, mobility and strength training, specifically with gymnastic rings for me and kettlebells, and really helping me also with the fact that I've had 25 years now of chronic lower back pain because of instability. So I truly appreciate everything that Sara-Clare has provided. So I'm going to go ahead now and get started. We're really talking about some of the common mobility challenges that we as women suffer with. And I brought in our expert who's going to be able to address that with you today. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce her to you, and then we're going to get started right away. So Sara-Clare has been a fitness professional since 2003. Her passion for physical fitness began at a young age through dance and continued through her university years as a teacher's assistant in movement for theater arts. There she studied voice, dance, Alexander technique, Pilates, yoga, Feldenkrais, and contact improv. Since graduating with a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Acting and Performance, Sara toured the world as a professional performer for 12 years before settling down in Toronto. Sara is the technical director for Agatsu Joint Mobility and Movement Program and co-creator of Power and Grace Women's Retreats. Her clients range from athletes, senior citizens, chemotherapy patients, to mentoring troubled teens. Her background and training includes, ready for this? Circus arts, such as hand balancing and hand-to-hand partner balancing. You've got to watch some of those demonstrative videos. They're pretty cool. Brazilian jiu-jitsu, gymnastics, Olympic weightlifting, kettlebell sport, and Ashtanga yoga. Sara-Clare truly believes that anything is possible if you're willing to do the work. I know this firsthand as she's trained me in that regard. It may not happen tomorrow or the next day, but as some wise person told her, only permanent practice makes perfect.
Only perfect practice.
Thank you. Only perfect practice makes perfect. And what is the other thing that you always say about the last rep?
Always end on a good rep. Your body remembers the last thing it did. So whether it's like you did 50 amazing reps and then you pushed and it was one crappy one, well, guess what? Your body will remember the crap. So be mindful, move with intention, right? And always, always make sure you leave on a high note. That's good for your brain. It's good for your body. It's good for everything all around, right? We don't want to, it's like when you put the kettlebell down on the floor, you finish a push-up and you're like, oh, I'm done. And it was like, why did you put it down like that? If you picked it up so nice, you end on a good rep. Everything, everything is mindful, even how we put the weight and put it down. Because that's usually where we end up getting hurt in life. Like you pick up your kid or your dog or a grocery bag and you're not thinking about it. You're not moving mindfully, So in the gym, when you're practicing, even if it's little movement snacks at home, everything's done mindfully because it accumulates into being better for when we're moving without thinking about it.
I love that. So perfect practice makes permanent, perfect practice makes perfect. It's not like I don't have the words right here in front of me. But
that's okay. And like a bio is a bio. It's like,
and always end like your best rep last. Always finish your best rep last, something like that.
Yeah, always end on a good rep. I mean, like that's also like I tell my clients all the time. Like, for example, I have a group of master swimmers at 6 a.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And, these are really competitive swimmers. They're older. They have some mobility issues, but man, if you look at them in the water, they can fly. And it's like, I tell them like, we're going to hit somewhere between 10 and 12 reps here. Yeah. The choice is yours. If you start falling apart at 10, then that's it. Finish 10, but on a high note. I don't care if you get to 12 and it's crap, then you finished on crap. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Let's, I told them, I was like, you're not in your Huggies anymore. You are my young adults and I expect you to adult for yourself. And part of mindful movement is knowing how to auto-regulate. So just because I give you a program that day and, it's your take home program and you're like, I'm shot, you also have the options of going for a walk, of doing a more restorative day. So, but that's up to you. I'm not in your body. So I try to teach my clients how to have intention behind their movement, how to take responsibility for that, and how to dial up or dial down when they need to.
I love what you're saying.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying, sister.
Well, I think we all need to be reminded of that from time to time too.
Oh, well, it's just the language alone that you're using, that we're in control of our volume dial. I mean, we really are. And where I talk about intensity in terms of our emotions, you talk about, being able to use really good judgment when it comes to your physicality, right? And just know your body. I love that.
Like that's evolution. Like to me, that's evolution. That's the mark of someone who is teaching their client to be mindful and to be responsible and to be confident in moving their body, right? Yeah. I don't care about the workout that's on the board. I don't really care about how many sets and reps you get in. I care, are you learning about how you're moving? Do you have more body awareness? Are you gaining control in your body? Is this feeding over into other aspects of your life? And guess what? If you're doing all these things and you put it together and you see, like today's not real, I'm not feeling it. And you have that responsibility, it's part of evolution. You reserve the right to change your mind as long as you're making an informed decision, right? Like we all need to do that from day to day. Every time, you have a client walk in the door, might be a good day for them, might be a bad day for them. They're there, you meet them where they're at. You don't go, well, this is supposed to be the workout. Yeah. So it's always evolving. It's always present. And that's what being mindful is.
So it sounds like when you're training your clients, and we haven't even gotten to the questions yet, but it sounds like when you're training your clients, you really take that unique you approach, that you are focusing on the uniqueness of the individual and you expect that that individual will focus on their uniqueness as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm going to say do here. So I do. Yeah. I do group classes.
Yeah.
Right. And everybody has an on-ramp process. Everybody gets an assessment because everybody needs to have the basics of awareness. And I need to get to know your body and your injuries and what's going on as well. Yeah. So even though we're working in a group, it's highly individualized. It's there's always like, say we're doing a hinge position today. Maybe a conventional deadlift is not okay for you. Does that mean you can't work a hinge position? Absolutely not. I give options to every exercise. So there's usually 2 to 3 options. And that's where adulting for yourself and taking responsibility for yourself comes in. It's my responsibility to teach you that awareness and to give you that confidence. But you and the way you practice helps you gain control of it. Yeah. Right?
I love that.
So, yeah.
Well, speaking about adulting or not adulting, what are the most common mobility issues you see with women in particular?
Yeah. So I teach a lot of women. I would say like 3/4 of my clientele are women. I didn't set out for that. I think it's just something that's happened and I really enjoy it, especially with Power and Grace. Right. So I started that because I was like, I love to be surrounded by strong women. So Power and Grace is just that. I learned from you guys as much as you learned from me. So getting to this question, I mean, the age range I usually have for women is anywhere from, well, right now it's 12 years old to 78. And I can't really say that it is a mobility issue per se. In women, I see a lot of lack of stability. I mean, a lot of times women have EDS or hypermobility issues.
Explain what EDS is.
EDS is like a hypermobility sort of, I don't want to say syndrome, but it's, it's a genetic thing. If you're hypermobile, you can't fix it, but you can, like, it's genetic. You can learn to gain control in your body. I know I'm hypermobile in some places too, but it's not okay to just hang out at that end range of motion and be like, hey, I'm so bendy. You need to be able to control things in your body, just as you need to control things in your life, right? So you need to be able to stop and start whenever you want. You have the control to do that so you can stay safe. And so part of the issues I see with women from 12, honestly, to like 80 is that lack of stability. And I don't know if it's from the culture, and this is probably why I started Power and Grace thinking about it now, of like, you know, it's pretty, but we don't want to see women sweat, and you should fit into some sort of physique and blah, blah, blah. I was tired of it. And I was like, I'm always hurt. Like, I grew up in dance and I was looking for shapes and I was looking for artistic stuff. And I just remember being 20 and feeling like I was 80 and broken. And I was like, this is not the be all and end all. So that's why I started diving down more and more movement avenues in university. And I took all these like strength training courses, and learning about hypertrophy, learning about periodization and progressive overload, because I feel as women, we shy away from the stronger exercises, but you need that. You seriously need that, because the lack of stability, especially pre-postpartum, if we're talking about that, after you have a baby, it's like, you thought the marathon was the 9 months. No, it's after that 9 months and you have the baby. You need to be able to regain control in your body. So it starts with awareness, and then it starts with building that core stability. So then we can have better hip control, better shoulder control, better feet. I mean, as much as I see the 12-year-olds, like, they lack spinal control and they're almost kyphotic because of maybe what school has been lately, right? Zoom and everything like that. But I kind of see the same thing in my 80-year-olds. So the degree to which I spend in on each person in each section varies on the client. But first and foremost, it's always like spinal awareness, spinal stability. So core stability, if you want to look at that. If I can fix those postural muscles, and I can also get you to breathe more optimally, your mind is calmer, you're more focused, right? We're able to make decisions easier. We're not parasitical with tension being one way or another. So things are easier. So I work on breathing and posture first, work on those core muscles and awareness. And then we move to the hips, feet, and shoulders. Which one is more important? To be honest, it's whatever presents itself, but I always start with our core muscles first. Breathing first, down toning any parasitical tension we have in the nervous system, because we really want to be able to feel our best, gain awareness, and then move forward from there and gain stability and strength. Because, flexibility comes, but we need anchor points in which to keep everything safe, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. And in alignment where the joint is supposed to be.
Well, that's it. So the body's amazing, right? So if your shoulder is not working as a shoulder, your body just goes, hey, no problem, new shoulder. Yeah, but these joints are not designed the same. Yeah. So we really need to, even the warm-up is mindful. The warm-up is purposeful. If you don't have time in your day to do a whole workout, I would rather you do little movement snacks, which is what I give all my clients, because I want you to gain control and awareness in your body. And if you did like 5 minutes here and there, at the end of the day, maybe you've accumulated 20 minutes of practice versus like, I have to make it to the gym. I have to do this workout, blah, blah, blah. All bad reps. I have no awareness. That's really worth nothing, to be honest. I would rather you fit in little movement snacks. If you make it to the gym that day, awesome. If you can't, I give all my clients like their movement snacks, but it's working on stability, control. And then from there, we start working flexibility and, mobility as well.
So if I take like a 30-foot view and I generalize a little bit, and correct me if I'm wrong. So if I take a 30-foot view and I look at kind of common stability challenges or biomechanical challenges, if you will, at that younger kind of teenage years, it would be more that kyphotic presence. Maybe, between the ages of like 30 and 55, 30 and 60, there's more of like the lower back and some of the kyphotic presence. And then as we age, we've got the shoulders and that kyphotic presence. Is that kind of a general transition through the phases when we're not really cognizant, like when we're really sedentary?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that's a really good generalization. I put the feet in there too. Like, to be honest, what teen now can you ask to do a full squat and their heels stay on the ground and they don't round their backs?
Yeah. I saw one actually walking on her toes in her shoes. And I'm like, oh, like talk about really tight Achilles and calves. And I was gonna say something and I'm like, I can't say anything. That's rude. But I wasn't even sure if she was aware of it, but like literally like, and then like a walk, like a regular dog walkie walk, you know, where she's like walking on her toes. I'm like, that's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's too, like, I'm not gonna go back to the school system. Like, teachers are doing their very best with the things they have. And I have hats off to them during COVID, because holy cow, being on Zoom was not easy while at home. But I work with a bunch of teachers as well, specifically more in BC, from their school boards. And we've developed a way for them to be able to bring more movement into their classrooms and not just rely on PE teachers and on when they're out at recess, they're actually getting, recreation time, but movement in their bodies. So I've been working with them on how to assess through movement snacks, but these movement snacks are meant to gain awareness. They're fun, first of all. So of course, kids will want to do them. It gets them up moving. And then I'm working on exactly those problematic issues. So we're working on ankles, we're working on core stability, we're working on like flexion, extension, rotation, but the home base has to be established first. So I think, coming back to the first part of your question, is I see a lack of home base from like basically ages 12. And then if you don't gain it from your movement practice or whatever you choose to do, it just kind of gets progressively worse, right?
Home base would be the ankle mobility, the stability, and through like the pelvis, like core stability, and then probably more postural control or in back and neck. Okay.
Yeah, like just the way you walk and sit and get up. Like, if you ever, like, I walk my dogs every day, and I know this is weird, but I love people watching, and I try to guess what they do for work, because I'm like, oh, wow, hips are really forward. Oh, walking on their toes, right? So like, no one fits into a perfect box, and get that out of your head, right? But what's problematic is, if this is home base, you always want to sort of hover, like ping-ponging like this. It's like trying to learn to hold a handstand, but you don't want to be over-correcting and ping-ponging so big, right? So I always tell my clients, it's like, here's your strengths. You're really good at these things. Maybe your job is sitting all day, right? So, okay, whatever you do the most of, that's what your body remembers. So we're sitting all day. Awesome. We're really good at that posture. However, I don't move around a lot. And then I go to work for that 1 hour in the gym, that's 1 hour, but you just spent 8 hours doing this. So your strengths are really, really strong, and that's awesome, but your weaknesses are very weak. And the gap is so large that that's where your injury can take place. So I'd rather we like take little movement snacks throughout the day, so we keep the gap small, right? And no one's perfect, but it's about gaining that like sort of undoing of the positions we are in all day. So
we talk about those gaps, then is there any kind of recommendations that you could give? Like, again, I mean, I know you don't have a specific individual that you're talking about, but again, just looking from that 30,000, I said 30 foot, but 30,000 foot view, what would be some recommendations that you could give to close that gap a bit more? And you talked about a couple movement snacks throughout the day versus just a 1 hour period at the gym.
Yeah. I mean, if your job is sitting all day, I mean, my clients who do sit all day, I get them, you can program on your computer, or you just put an alarm on your clock every 45 minutes, get up and move. And it actually flashes and said, get up and move, right? Because sometimes I get it. You're on a thing, you haven't realized you haven't gotten up for like 3 hours, right?
Yeah.
Some people have to get up and move to and from, like maybe the receptionist. So they're moving a little bit more throughout their day. So every time you get up, I usually have like a few movement snacks to reverse those things. So like a hip opener, and I can send you 3 movement snacks for your viewers to follow
Oh,
along.
fantastic. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, rather than me trying to do them right now in this smaller
Yeah.
space. So a hip opener, because you've been sitting with closed hips, and usually a diagonal hip opener, so we can get some rotation going in the body, right? And it's also going to help us breathe better. So that's one. So if you're sitting with a closed position, choose an open position, right? And then another one is maybe you're not aware that your shoulders are always slumped forward. So we have like some easy shoulder snacks that you can do, right? And then foot snacks. While you're sitting at your desk, you can be working on your feet as well. And it's a bit of doing this at first, like patting the head and rubbing the belly. But I mean, I've never met someone who was super uncoordinated, who wasn't aware of it. And if you never practice little movement snacks, you're never going to gain that new verbiage, that new coordination. So movement snacks, right? They keep your body limber all day. They help relieve stress because you're breathing better, but you're also working mindfully to coordinate new movement. So when you do come to that hour of practice, or maybe it's just a half hour, like you're going to do a recording of one of your favorite instructors when you get home. Think about the capacity that you've done all day, instead of just doing this and then trying to sneak up. And it's never going to be feasible. 6 to 8 hours of sitting, and then we haven't done anything. Your half hour to an hour of working out is not bridging that gap. But if you did little movement snacks all day, right? The deficit is not as big. So your body becomes so much more aware of this new verbiage, of this new language, and it's more accessible in your everyday life. Like I literally have people, I mean, I can think of so many different cases. Like I have a woman who's an SPCA worker who has a sacral lumbar sprain from being hit by a goat. Like, what is that? You know, but I can see the exact same thing in someone who sits all day.
Yeah.
So this is why I'm trying to say, like, we can see commonalities and everything too. So she does movement snacks, even though she's moving around all day, and they're just to recenter her. So she's in her safe zone.
Right.
A person who sits all day, who almost had the exact same injury, is doing the same movement snacks for the opposite reason, is to open up stuff. Right. So the movement snacks are meant to have control. And when we establish control in our home base first, then we can stretch onto these points. So that it's really about like a twofold thing. We want to talk about mobility, but mobility is based off having awareness and stability first, and then we can increase range of motion. Okay. So that's what these movement snacks are made of. And if I'm talking, like if I have my nerd goggles on way too much here.
No, you're good.
You can let me know.
And I love how you just clarified that at the end, you know, that mobility first starts with the stability in order to have the range of motion. Because, you know, like you or myself, there's certain parts. Well, I'm a twisty girl. I'm not as much of a bendy girl, but I can twist where
you can twist
different directions, you know, almost your Exorcist 360 kind of stuff.
I was just gonna say that. I totally remember your level 2, and I was like, oh my God. Look at
I'm like, no, we can keep going. You know?
I was like, I don't know if we should keep going. You know, you like the one fun thing too, and this is what I bring into the schools as well, is like, as much as kids are easier to teach because like it's like a game, right? And they don't have hangups or preconceived notions, and they haven't maybe been injured enough. And I don't want them to be injured, but then to have like that fear of reentering trauma, right? So they're a blank slate, and I play games with them, and adults need these games too, because like really, if I played any game with you, like let's say we're playing red light, green light, right? I want you to be able to control when I say both of those things. And if you could do that, how much simpler would your life be when it comes to daily tasks?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I just don't want people to feel like, oh my God, I have to pick this box up and I can't do it, so I'm going to ask someone else to do it. Like, let's start small. Let's start with what the spine is doing. How are you creating intra-abdominal pressure? And, you know, like a simple movement snack. Like I have clients standing up and down, and they're just doing basically that motion with no weight. So when they get home, they're like, oh, I don't have to be worried about picking up my kid. Or I have a brand new mom right now. Of course she's exhausted, right? She's 6 months postpartum, and she's like, I can't pick my son up out of his crib without pain, without like searing pain. And I was like, well, that's not great, you know? So let's work on it. So like movement snacks for her is just like, when he's in his crib, she's going to practice 3 to 5 times this this movement, and it'll be one of the movement snacks I send you guys too. And it's not hard, but it just primes your body to understand that when you need it, it's there.
Yeah, I love that. And in practicing those and kind of adding them to your toolkit of movements, do you find that it becomes more instinctive where the muscles that are supposed to turn on when they have to?
Well, that's exactly it, right? So that's why it's like you're learning that new language, that new verbiage. So let's say you have a Spanish class at the end of the day and you're new to Spanish, right? Imagine every 20 minutes, you practice a little bit of Spanish throughout your day. So every time you got up, you were like, oh, here's my posture. Okay. You know, like you don't have to harp at home and be robotic about it, but you're just like, oh, okay, there's home base. And every time you sat down, you were like, there's home base. If you did that all day long, how much better would you be at spinal awareness by the time you got to the gym, right? Or if you said, habla español, you know, every 20 minutes, by the time I got to my Spanish class, my mind and my body are primed for that movement, and I don't have to think about it so consciously anymore. So it starts to happen subconsciously. So movement is a language, right? It's like learning any new language. It's like learning a piece of music. It's not going to happen overnight, but little digestible chunks is what your body can handle without having that like paralyzing, like this is too much information. So I pick one thing, and like that's the one thing we're going to work on. And then by the end of the day, it's like, oh, okay, I got this. I understand where it is, even without me thinking about it.
Now, do you have to continue to repeat those movement snacks in order for them to stay proficient in the way in which you move?
So the way I design it is the movement snacks are progressive, right? So if you're nailing, let's say you're like squat to hinge, I'm not going to keep you there because we need progressive overload. It's like if you stayed in grade 1 all your life, you would actually end up dumb.
Yeah.
You get to a certain point, but then because you're not being challenged, your body's just like, I can beat it. I can slough it off. I can give 80% now instead of giving 100% of my attention. So all of the movement snacks are progressive, right? So depending on where my client's at, you know, I only give 3 movement snacks per week, sometimes only 2, depends who you are and what you're going through, right? So they're meant, first of all, to bring your nervous system back to home base and feel safe. Right. And then we start.
Go ahead, finish
Yeah.
off.
So then when we have that foundation established, then I start pushing a little bit.
So it's always incremental. So the body's always kind of more or less working on that repeated behavior, that repeated movement, because that is how the subconscious mind works, is it is only through repetition where it actually becomes automated. So I love that with your movement snacks, that although you're progressing them, it's still, you know, you're still kind of teaching them that same movement pattern.
Yeah, I'm doing the same movement pattern in various ways.
Yeah.
Right. So we might start lying down, and then we go to like a quadruped position, so hands and knees, and then we go to like a side plank position, but it's all the same lesson. And so I'm just challenging the same lesson in various ways.
Yeah, I love that.
So instead of ordering breakfast in Spanish, you're now going to order lunch.
Yeah.
Right. So you still have your base of like, I'm going to order this, and then the menu changes a little bit, but you're still within that realm. So it has to be progressive like that. And if it's something that is too much on the nervous system and it almost becomes, you know, parasitical, like people start getting, especially people coming back from trauma or people going through serious illness, like my chemo clients or my MS clients, like these are things that it's an uphill battle. So if I, as the coach, make the program so hard that it's like, you know, your client feels like it's insurmountable and they can't wrap their mind around it, well, that's my failure as a coach, right? That's me not listening to you. I have to meet you where you're at. And that's why I said before, like, you have to adapt. I might have a game plan for the day, but I also need to adult and be like, okay, I need to adapt to what my client is presenting right now. And that's why I want to teach my client about mindful movement so they can have the freedom to adapt their program as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I never want someone to feel like it's overwhelming or they feel shameful because they didn't complete something.
Oh,
it's
good.
not that at all.
Oh, good. So I know in terms of like the 3 best mobility exercises, you talked about hip openers, what would be a particular practice, a particular movement that and I know you're going to give us some movement snacks later, but for like a chest opener to help with shoulder mobility,
Yeah.
kind of get rid of some of that kyphoticness or the chin poke.
Yeah. So, I mean, the first thing too is just finding like, so I refer to it as a 3-point stack because we have our jaw, our diaphragm, and pelvic floor. So like maybe just while you're sitting here, you know, if I had shelves on my diaphragm, my jaw, my pelvic floor, I'm just going to feel and find the point at which if I had shelves, they would be perfectly parallel to each other and I could hang things on them without them rolling off. Right. So just having the awareness of what these 3 points are doing with each other first and foremost. And then when you feel that, you might find like, oh, I sit way back here, my ribs are popped. So then I have to put or I sit like this. So just gaining the awareness of how you sit. And especially, I mean, we can go down a rabbit hole with all this too. But the way people sit and how they sit and what they sit on really matters. Like, you know, like if you're a shorter person like myself, like I have really short legs, I hate sitting in a chair because my feet never touch the ground. So I always put yoga blocks or something underneath my feet if I have to sit on a chair, or I choose to sit on a Swiss ball, but that's just me because I don't want to let whatever object I'm sitting on dictate how I sit. I know what feels best for me. So I'm going to adjust that situation if I have to be there for a while and be working, right?
So hip openers, then we want to be, you know, because we're sitting and we're locking up those hips or closing the hips off. We want to work on the hip openers, which will be a movement snack you'll provide us with. The second sense of awareness is when you are sitting to try and make sure that you're stacking your jaw, your diaphragm, and your pelvic floor so that that whole shelving unit is aligned one on top of the other. What would be the third one then that you would recommend?
Honestly, sometimes just taking some deep breaths in and really feeling like I have so many fun movement snacks, but the truth is, if you're not aware of how your alignment is and how you're breathing, it's going to be really hard to access other things because you're always going to feel kind of stuck or cramped, right? So like, and we talk about this a lot in all the courses, but breathing up here, this apical breathing, right? It's not great. It's like these shoulders and chest and everything shouldn't move. What should happen is your diaphragm should open like an umbrella. And everything happens at once. It doesn't have to be like it's not so segmented, like the belly doesn't fill and then my back ribs go and then my side ribs go. Just sitting in a nice posture and relaxing and taking like 5 deep breaths in and feeling like that is opening 360 degrees. The diaphragm is opening like an umbrella and then just, right? So I like to breathe in through my nose and then I don't think people take enough time in their day to breathe, to be honest.
No, and you know what? I actually think that one in particular is for sedentary people, for people who work in office spaces, for people who are just really stressed out. That has like so many benefits, you know, focusing on the breath gives them back a sense of control. Focusing on the breath allows them to, you know, kind of massage their spine a little bit when they're sitting there, being more cognizant of their posture. Focusing on the breath actually increases the oxygen uptake in the brain so we can, you know, think a little bit more clearly and be more articulate with our words. So I love that last one. I think that has a lot of, you know, sticking power in a lot of different areas.
An added bonus to that too, if we want to get like really flashy and stuff, is the better we can get at upholding our body without slouching and doing all this stuff, we turn on our postural muscles. When our postural muscles turn on more, we actually burn more calories because we're not relying on hanging out just in one position. Like this is lazy. I'm not actually, you know, and then I end up hurting on one side because I'm just like slouching and stuff. When I can breathe better and I have better posture, I turn on those deep core muscles. I turn on all of those muscles that are meant for endurance, and I start sleeping better and I start breathing better and I start having better awareness in everything that I do. I start burning more calories. Like,
amazing. So you're saying that if we can kind of focus on like just easy movement snacks, we could actually burn a couple more calories. We might get better quality of sleep. We'll probably be able to self-regulate so that we're not as pissed off and impatient, and we'll be able to think more clearly and move better. Oh,
yeah. I mean, you know, I'm going to be a stickler on this. Like when I hear people say, oh, I just don't have time and I don't have this and I don't have that. I'm like, you don't have time for that, or you don't want to make time, because like you don't know how valuable time is until it's taken away from you. So unless you actually have been through a serious traumatic injury, or you're someone suffering from a neurological disease, you have 100% chance to make something of yourself. You have 100% chance. Just start small. Start with a 1-minute snack of like, what is my posture? And then let me take 3 deep breaths. That's it. I'm not asking you to change your entire life. I'm asking you to do one thing. And if you did it, you know, a little bit throughout the day, then notice how you feel at the end of the day, right? And you'll notice that first in the capacity of your nervous system. So if you start breathing better, you're less stressed, you're sleeping better, right? Your low back doesn't hurt maybe because you're not slouching and stuff. I mean, what did that take you? It took you maybe 5 times throughout your day, just noticing your posture, taking 3 deep breaths.
And there's an air of confidence that comes with that. So anybody kind of walking past your desk is going to see that you're more like Tony Robbins calls it the 2-millimeter shift, because physiologically that's really all it is a 2-millimeter shift. And it does, it improves your confidence. And what happens with that is, whether you're aware of it or not, people are attracted to that. When people are attracted to that, you actually increase your opportunity for conversation, for being picked for something, you know, for being invited to participate in something, just by focusing on what it is that you just talked about, and just, you know, breathe and posture control. So,
well, we're animals. We're animals, right?
Yeah.
But in the wild, what animals are attracted to what animals? No one is attracted to this because it doesn't seem you can provide for yourself or others. Yeah. Everyone in the wild is attracted to someone who's, first of all, confident, but calm, right? We don't need to be egotistical here, but there is something within yourself, gaining control within yourself, that adds a confidence. And when you know you have control of yourself, that is very attractive to people. And it's very attractive to you too, because you know that as you work on yourself, you can get yourself out of bad situations. And I'm not just talking about physically, but I remember being 18, not being able, like for all the years I spent in dance, I couldn't do a push-up or a pull-up. And when I had to do my audition to get into university, there was like 500 applicants, only 15 get selected. I'm like, right? And you only get seen for your actual acting stuff after the physical testing. Yeah. I had to do push-ups and pull-ups. And I said, for the 18 years I've done in dance, which it wasn't wrong. Nothing, let's get this straight, guys. Nothing you're doing is wrong. I'm just adding on to it. If you're going to spend time doing stuff, it should be stuff that can get you out of bad situations, right? So for the 18 years I've spent in dance, which was great, and it brought me to where I was, I couldn't save myself if I had to push or pull my body. I could not. And that was a wake-up call for me. I was like, so I had to learn about strength training, and I had to learn about intra-abdominal pressure and bracing and getting strong, and also being able to move freely from that. Because it's not just about bracing, but when you can see someone go from a very sort of calm and present position to then being open and active and animated, and then being able to calm themselves again, that's attractive. You know what I mean? Like that shows that they have control, that shows they know where they're at. That's confidence, and people like that, but you should want that for yourself too. 100%. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think you and I are advocating right now for those people who just aren't putting their hand up and saying, you know, yeah, I need to focus, you know, I need to focus on me. I feel like a lot of people will advocate for others, but they won't take the time to make themselves a priority. And that's kind of where you and I, our voices are like, but you need to, you know? Like to give your best to somebody else, you have to give your best to you first, you know.
100%. And the cool thing about adding in these little movement snacks is it takes no time. No one knows you're doing it. If it was just like a self-adjustment and taking a few deep breaths. And every time you do it, you're like, I put a grain of rice in the jar, right? Every time I take me time, I put a grain of rice in the jar. Yeah. At the end of the day, even if it's a small grain of rice, you have like, oh, it's like a quarter full. Maybe at the end of the week, the whole jar is full. That's amazing that you spent that time on you. And then it's going to become easier and easier because you're creating a habit, right? Okay. So this is why I don't try to change things all overnight. It's like learning a new language. I'm not going to pick up the guitar and be Jimi Hendrix. It's impossible. but
Yeah.
I'm just sitting there and I'm like, okay, I put this finger here and here. And maybe I just do that 4 times throughout my day. But by the end of the day, I'm like, oh, look, my fingers are now understanding without me going like this and placing them, that it's starting to happen. And
Yeah.
so spending little movement snack times on you will add up to, yes, your physical presence, but also your mental presence for yourself and showing up for yourself, because no one's going to do it for you. And if you don't do it, no one will reciprocate that you're deserving of it as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. I think we're going to leave with that. I think this was a lot of really juicy information. I think there's a lot of inspirational messaging behind this as well. And the fact that you're going to provide us with just a couple of snacks that we can start implementing right away, I'm really grateful for. So thank you very much.
Yeah. So let me know how you guys like those movement snacks too, because I love feedback. And don't worry about this. I was hugged enough as a kid, right? If you don't like them, I still like the feedback.
Fair. So for those of you who are either watching live right now, I haven't bothered to take a look at the comments, I apologize, or will be watching on the replay and have any questions, comments, concerns, by all means, put them in the comments. If I can't respond to them, I obviously have somebody who can, but we want to try and support you as much as possible. And as you just heard, Sara-Clare is more than happy to accept any feedback that you have with some of the movement snacks so that she can continue to better her clients as well. So for everybody who's watching, here's to showing up for you, Sara-Clare. Thank you so much for your time. Have yourselves a great day, everybody.